We got a lot of customers that they don't want to buy the 79 as a work rig.
Yeah.
You know, they're buying a 40. At the end of it, they're ending up with something that's totally different from everything else. It's unique.
Something you're not going to lose in the car park.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Paul, Richard, Mr. Landcruiser. How are we, gentlemen?
Good, mate. Yeah.
Very well. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for making the trip down. I know this time of the afternoon's not great, so
Straight out of work, I still smell of gear oil, EP80.
I was going to say something.
there's worse things to smell of. And for anybody that's got a keen eye, we've got something different in the pot again this week. Who's this and what's this about? Cheers for coming down to us.
No, thank you, mate.
Oh, cheers.
Traveller, Australian owned for a start.
I'm just going to smell it. Who smells beer?
It's good. It's got a little fruity flavour to it.
A little fruity flavour.
If you don't know, Richard and I like a beer.
I've heard. we seem to be cut from the same cloth in that regard. That's not bad.
It's good. They brought out full strength as well. So it's,
That's only a midi. That's good.
Yeah.
Being responsible and all that shit.
Right.
Behave ourselves.
So for anybody that's been living under a rock and knows what a Landcruiser is but doesn't know what you guys do, Mr. Landcruiser is the duck's nuts as far as the early gear. You guys want to give us a bit of a rundown on what you do and who does what?
Oh, go on.
Well, it's basically pre 89, 1989, but not the 70 series. We do have a few 70s. Perhaps they own other cars, 40s and 60s, but we're 40s and 60s.
Yeah.
That's it. We'll get a 55 or a 20 in, but we're 40s and 60s. And
Yeah, the 55's threw me. I didn't even know that was a thing until I started going through like the history, like gearing up for this. Because I don't know whether it was just part of me went 40, 45, 47, 60.
Yeah.
they've got a following.
Oh, big time. It's growing as well. Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know it was a thing. So that it doesn't surprise me that it's growing because it's like, and you guys must be at least a bit responsible for bringing people's attention to it because I would not have known what that was when I Googled an image. Bring that up. Bring up the
old Iron Pig.
FJ55.
They're pretty ugly, but that is what makes them so cool.
Yeah.
It is. It's almost as bad as the new 79. 55.
Yeah.
Yeah, hit that and then hit images.
It's definitely a cult following.
Yeah.
It looks like something that would maybe have not been delivered to Australia.
I think I know a
Super
couple
cool.
of those ones.
Look at them.
Yeah, it's got like the whole. It's just so different.
Oh, if you want to turn heads, that's what you drive, right?
Well, yeah, it is. It's really different. I mean, they're cool looking, but it's a little odd too.
Without getting too dorky, they're sort of the start of the wagon. There was an FJ45V, but these are more the start of the wagon.
Yeah, because the FJ Troopies that was a two-door still, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The 40,
You're talking,
the 45s, whatever.
They came out soft top 76, 77, then they went hard top. But these were a lot earlier, the family cars.
Yeah, it's a unique. It's like it just doesn't. It's almost like it doesn't fit in my knowledge of Toyota. It just seems odd.
Well, not a lot of them made it either, this far, because there's the sort of word around the campfire was that they were brought over on the deck of the ships and not down in the belly of them, and they were rotting when they arrived, So.
Yeah, well, half the stuff that rocks up these days, when we're doing a underbody rust proofing, like for pre-delivery, like new cars, there's already rust seeping out of joins and stuff, so the old girls wouldn't have much of a chance.
They come out with factory rust.
We've got one at work at the moment, actually, that's a one owner from new.
Wow.
And he's brought it up to us from Victoria to get back on the road, but keep the patina.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
A standard roadworthy, but you add your lockers, you add nice seats. Make it look a bit of a what do they call them? Ghost.
Yeah, like a bit like a ghosty. So
Yeah.
a capable vehicle that looks like it's just come out of the barn or whatever.
Yeah, and obviously all the function of the new technology, but with the old school look.
He's keeping the driveline, so 4-speed, the old F petrol.
Yeah,
But he still wants to have fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So he lives near the high country. He wants it set up for so he can go go wheeling up the high country and have some fun.
Yeah. Can you hit up the maybe the mrlandcruiser.com.au, isn't it? Yeah. One of them tabs.
Just .com.
Just .com? Because there's see now that's
promoting our
like
show.
where the jump should have been. It should have been from there to there.
Yeah.
So what's they're the primary 40, 45, 47 and 60s.
Yeah.
What's do you have a favourite? Who's more what?
Yeah, I'm 40 series, and Richard was the first one of a Stoner 60 series. So that's sort of how that started. But now we own one of each, and we love both.
Yeah.
So we're both just obsessed. But
Yeah.
I had the 41st, Richard had the 61st, and the business would wreck 60s for the 40 series owner because we steal all the good bits.
Yes.
So the 60 used to be the ultimate donor car, and that's so the wrecking side of them introduced it. And then, Richard fell in love with them, and
Yeah, they're just cool. You know, get the whole family in it, and all your crap to go away, touring and camping. And when I came to Australia, it was like this newfound thing for me. You know, like camping and touring and just loving it.
And how long have you been over here now?
Oh, 8 years now.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Right.
he nearly sounds Aussie.
Yeah. It's not super thick. Not super thick. And as far as so I mean, obviously, I'm a 40, 45. The Utes are my favourite. What is the difference between a 45 and a 47?
Multiple, but 47 means 2H, so it's the last of the diesels that were on offer. So
Okay.
it's
So it wouldn't matter
2H
which
diesel.
one you had if you were going to do like an engine swap or something like that. You just
No. The good thing about the chassis is you can go back to 1962 and drop a 2H straight in it. You can drop a 12HT straight in it, which is the same block as a 2H. Well,
Yeah, right.
thereabouts.
Yeah, it's dumped straight in.
Yeah,
No
drop
mods.
straight in.
Wow.
A little bit different for the gearbox. We've got cross members and stuff to make the 5-speed fit, but otherwise you just drop straight in.
Yeah, I'm going to have to talk to you about because that little shorty 40 that we're building. I haven't got any photos of that up yet. It's not quite at the wall point, but it's got the Cleveland in it and the 4-speed, and I'm thinking that's probably going to cause dramas.
Yeah, you probably want to drop the revs a little bit.
Yeah.
On the highway.
Yeah,
You're wringing its neck all the time.
Well, yeah, it's. I was liking the concept of just dropping the clutch and doing a backflip, but
It depends what you use it for too. If it's tough enough, a lot of guys trailer them, just real hard and take them home.
yeah, this is just a toy. It's it's like fuel cell in the back, and I do have to get the sports bar because that did not come with it, so I'm gonna have to look at that. And we're gonna do the interior up a little bit, but I think I want to go back to like a bench look, and I don't know.
I've always liked the bench. I drive a Ute, and the 40 series bench is quite thin, so it's good for tall guys. You start doing XR 6 seats and stuff. There's less room.
Yeah, we did one of the early ones I did in like 2016. I think we had the SAS seats, and that was just a prick of it. It was comfy once you were in it,
it's
but
okay
like
for
the
the shorties.
bolstering to get over that, you were either going to destroy the seat or catch your nuts or whatever, and that's always that's never fun.
Yeah, the shorties, you can put what you want in them.
Yeah, trippies and shorties because you can move the seat back further.
Yeah.
You put anything in them.
Well, the bench seat's also good too. If you got a lady, you can swing her over and have a cuddle while you're driving.
Everyone loves a cuddle.
That's right. Why not? So how did all this get started? For anybody that's not up to date with your YouTube channel, I went back and had a look, and that was a lot of fun. You must have been on a green screen, were you? With
a little bit of that.
A little bit of that, yeah. That's
pretty
cool.
raw back then.
Yeah. So
it started as a hobby. It was a hobby. So I had a different career. I was a jeweler. I've made jewellery for 21 years.
yeah.
Left school, worked on a farm. All my mates are in the city, so I had to pick a trade and move to the city where the shiny lights are and what have you, and
Yeah.
chase girls. And so I picked jewellery because it was I liked blacksmithing, boiler making, but that was I could sit down and do it. And be
I was waiting for something to do with chasing girls in there, but okay. Discount jewellery. All right, Carl.
But anyway, when I was on the farm as a kid, it was always the 40 series, and I bought other cars and I didn't like them, so it took me back to the 40 series, and I soon realised working on them at home, they used to be cheap. So I would buy a donor car and take the parts I want and eBay the rest of the parts. I soon realised I was making a profit. It would pay for the build and the beer. And so I had another career, but it paid for things.
Yeah.
And that evolved. So it was just wrecking only. Mr. Landcruiser started as wrecking only. It all evolved when we did new parts and met Richard. But it came to a stage I was having so much fun that I go, and there was enough to go, I want to do this full time.
Yeah.
And I've done jewellery for over 20 years, so I'm obsessed with 40 series. It was an obsession with 40 series. And yeah, my neighbour would come and buy parts, and he'd call me Big Paul or Mr. Landcruiser, and I just thought that's a great business name.
It
Mr.
is.
Landcruiser.
It is. It is a cool name. It's like you can't you can't be misled by it.
But it's evolved, and Richard and I are 50-50 now, so that's I'm sure we'll talk about it. But having a different trade, Richard's brought the workshop through his background, so it was started, and I suppose a few people watching this would know Ruthie, John Ruth.
Yeah.
He brought us together.
Yep. He brought you guys together.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Richard was building Milo 2, and I was supplying parts. And before you know it, we met each other, and he is one hell of a top guy. So he said, I do all his shows, and in between I go wheeling. You two guys, for all the effort you've done for me, you've got to come with me. So we would go on tour for a couple of years with Ruthie.
Yeah.
And
that was when they'd left the action and gone into low range?
yeah, but it was still Milo, the original.
Yeah.
We got to drive Milo quite a few times. And,
That was you
and
when you
enjoy
were,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I got to enjoy.
Yeah, because you were at Ruthie's shed at home working on
that's
Milo
right,
too. Yeah.
I'd just got here and
Thrown in the deep end.
Wasn't really doing much, but got to know John through Simon, who's a mutual friend, and we went down there one day just to his shed, and he's just taken out a low range, so he's got all these parts everywhere, man, and he's got the chassis there with an engine and box in it rolling, and he was like, I've got all these parts, I don't know what the hell, it's all mixed together, and I'm like, well, that's injector part components, and this is that component, blah blah blah, and he's like, would you fancy coming down every Wednesday with Simon and they're filming the build, and would you want to help out? And I'm like, fuck, I'm not doing anything else.
Yeah, nice.
I had a company called Smart Automotive Solutions. I was doing what I was doing in the UK, so diagnostics and electrical stuff, installs, all that kind of electrical boring stuff.
Yeah, copy and paste, very repetitive.
Exactly. So, it was just a great opportunity for me. And then, getting to know Paul. Just good.
We got to travel this side of Australia.
Yeah.
We went and wheeled the high country, the border track, Flinders Ranges. Ruthie would take us places, and then we'd go to these shows and help out.
Yeah.
I still was merging with the jewellery, so he would let me treads full drive jewellery. So it was all the rings were car tyres and pistons and turbos. And stuff, just jewellery for the car enthusiast. So,
that's heaps cool.
Ruthie would let me sell it on his stand, and because I owned a 47, he'd let me put that on his stand, and just two old cars on the stand.
Yeah, nice.
And Richard used to drive the camera car, which I think in the day Ruthie was given a Jeep or lent a Jeep, so Richard
Cherokees
would wheel that and damage that.
I used to love it. You give it back to the company that's, I won't say it, but the company supplies us the vehicles, and shit's just hanging off.
This sounds like a fucking awesome job.
If they saw some of the footage of us, smashing it through the high country, they'd understand why.
You soon realise new cars are quite capable, but stuff doesn't last as long.
Oh yeah,
it just falls off.
Yeah. And then there's all the electrical gremlins and everything is controlled by a bloody computer.
You're not going to be fixing a Jeep Cherokee in 40 years.
No, I can't imagine. Whereas I think people will still be working on these old girls.
Yes, 100%.
So that's really cool that he sort of put you together like that. So that's So you've been 8 years, and how long have you guys been together? Is that to be about the same time then, I guess? 7, 8 years?
A couple of years later.
Couple of years later,
6
yeah.
years. Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah. And all right, so you're more in the 40s. Where's your heart lie?
Oh, here you mean with the Landcruisers?
Yeah.
I've converted him.
Yeah.
Okay.
60s, but I
He-wheels
do
are
have
40.
we've just been wheeling this weekend actually at the Springs.
Yeah.
And I trailered my little shorty out there, and that's got a 1UZ in it, 5-speed, 79 series rear axle. It went good, like
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I've still got a smile on my face.
Yeah, there's not much that that'll replace that sort of buzz of going out and having a play. It's a bloody big drive though. What is it from here? It's like 3 hours?
3.
3 from here, yeah.
Oh, he was towing with
the
his 60, he's 2.8, so yeah, maybe 3.5. GPS said 3.
Nice. So what's as far as the builds, because you guys do obviously parts, but you've got your own toys. You guys do servicing, upgrades, all sorts of stuff as well for everybody else that sends you.
I guess it fell into place because there's not much that we wouldn't have taken on, but now we've got this core guys with the 40s, more so guys and girls. They come to us for 5-speed upgrade, power steer upgrade, disc brakes, and now we're starting to put some aircon into cars. So it's a lot of upgrades, but they're also bringing us just shit heaps from out in the paddock. So roadworthies that involve more than your general roadworthy.
Yeah, I saw one of the really early videos. One of the really early videos. There was some just chewed up old 45, I'm guessing, I think it was, that just had its arse hanging out, and you just threw some petrol down it in your battery and got it going again.
Yeah, I'd go out into paddocks and stuff and just no knowledge again. It's not my trade, but you just got to figure it out. You just and they're so simplistic that you can just battery and some fueling straight in the carby.
So do you do anywhere you'll sort of like buy a rig, like, because obviously that's one of the things I do here is I'll buy and build them so that I get that creative freedom. And then sell them on. Do you ever get into playing anything like that?
Way too busy.
Way too busy.
So it fluctuates. To get into Mr. Landcruiser, sometimes it's a 3 or 4 month wait for a roadworthy or a 5-speed. So we haven't got time to.
That's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah.
But
a lot of people think we do. Like phone up, I think we like sell cars and stuff, but it's like no, we don't. They're all customers' cars,
Yeah, right. What was that? Because you did one for Shawno for was it 24/7 then?
Yeah,
it was 24/7 when they just for the farm truck. Yeah. So
we've done a couple. Richards did all this himself, which is the Dirty 30. The engine was in, the box was in.
We had to just get it on the.
It was stagnant.
Our main goal was to get it on the road.
Right.
So it could then go on and have be modified further.
Yes.
Our job was to get it.
So we got that one roadworthy.
Yeah.
It was just no real loom or anything, just engine box. It was all mounted. We may have done things a little bit different, but we worked with what we had and one happy customer.
Yeah, for sure.
And that led to with Shawno. He was always had a 47 in the family. A cousin beat him to it, so he kept talking about it, and we said we'll find you one.
Yeah,
so
nice.
we found him one.
Yeah, it was cool too.
I'm sure as far as those sorts of jobs where you get them in the old bush or backyard mechanics, you've got to unpick
All of them.
some fun stuff.
We pretty much left that to him. That one we left
That
it
one,
to
yeah.
him because he's hands on. But yeah, a lot of them. It's mainly the wiring. It's just a nightmare. A bird's nest.
Yeah.
15 different farmers have picked
and
them. And
Yeah.
I've seen some wild shit over
That's
there.
what I mean, yeah.
Like those farmers would just keep them going, like no matter what.
Yeah.
You just seen some.
farmers are multi-trade.
Yeah.
They can really make stuff happen with what they've got. So be it welding, electrics.
Sometimes trying to unpick that stuff is
Yeah, that's what I'm
put it
thinking,
back to how it's supposed to be. Is quite challenging itself,
But
They did well though.
Well, I mean, I guess if you got a field to plough a field, don't you? Yeah. Sounded wrong for a second. Okay, how strong are these? No. Yeah, you know, and your tractor's broken down, and you can't wait 2 weeks for someone to come out and fix it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we spoke about this not that long ago, because my man was from Lismore, dairy farmer's son, and all that, and they were, you know, comparing the car manufacturers, like the manuals of today versus back then, and it was all about back then was, you know, telling you how to set your points, and now it's like, don't drink the fucking coolant. But, you know, they were a lot more, you know, hands-on back then, and I would imagine that...
You had to be.
Yeah, you know, you just don't have much of a choice. I mean,
It's a bit of a dying breed now, like, you know, adjusting points.
Yeah.
You know, setting tappets, you know, like valve clearances and,
Yeah.
you know, some of the stuff that was like, you used to take a car for a service and then you'd drive out and it was driving better. You know, now you take a car for a service and it's just like, you changed the oil, you done what? Like,
Yeah.
back in the day when you changed, you know, you swapped the points, you did the gap, and you drive up the road and go, this is like a new car.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
But It is a
absolutely.
dying trade. The old school, you know, distributor, you know, carburetors, all that kind of stuff.
And we've got to do a lot of that with these roadworthies. A lot of carby rebuilds, and they've been sitting there a long time.
When a rat's
Yeah.
made a nest in the carburetor, you know. It's
The rocker covers got to come off and what have you. So
Yeah. No, and there's the bit of the chassis components too that I've seen with the where you'll take some of the cross members or whatever out and replace them all and get all that done as well.
Yeah, well, there's guys here in Australia now that are, you know, coming to the party and making all these bits, you know, and it's all made here in Australia, which is really cool. McKinnon's Cruisers,
Yes.
LCS 4x4 down in Melbourne, you know, that
Yeah.
there's it's also, I think it's great, you know, like it's just
And you guys use Hugh up at Limitless for
Yeah.
Oh,
a lot of the
absolutely.
chat. Yeah. Anybody that comes down here, because obviously I'll do the chop, but I don't play with the chassis, so I just direct them up to him.
yeah.
again, they come off a farm, so they got rust, and he does that side of it. If it's a simple replacement part, rear cross member or front cross member, we'll do that ourselves. But
Yeah.
when there's rust in that chassis, Limitless.
Yeah.
Definitely an answer, hey?
Oh yeah.
Because it can bring it's like bring a build to a sudden stop when you get it on the hoist and find out that there's like, you know, the chassis is paper thin and
Yeah.
you're breaking through it with your fingers. It's like, and limited chassis are, they're awesome what they do.
Yeah, we had a Deleca down here ages ago where there was a bit of what looked like a bubble under some black paint in the front, because they're like a subframe, they're not like a separate sort of chassis, and it was in for an underbody, and I was like, that doesn't quite look right. And I just grabbed the pointy end of a hammer and just give it a tap, and there was almost like a playing card size bit of bog fell out that obviously just lathered it in and taped it up or whatever to get it to take shape. But yeah, there's some dodgy shit.
We've
out
had
there.
them that we can't repair. We've had, you just said the bog fell out. We've had one, there was that much, the chassis was bogged, the fuel tank was bogged.
Bog the fuel tank, man.
Yeah, just to make it look pretty.
Wow.
Yeah, we did a video on it actually, and it's up on YouTube. And
Kind of that's one of our
Viral
biggest that
ones,
blew
yeah,
up on YouTube. But bless the lady that bought it. She bought an import car restored, so she's brought it to Australia from pictures.
Yeah.
And they're
look pretty.
pictures.
You look pretty from the outside. Yeah. You got to beware, eh?
Yeah, that's nasty.
It was something you just wouldn't restore because everything needed replacing.
Yeah.
Everything.
And what if people come in and they want to do something a bit more crazy, like the 80 series, like the chassis swaps and stuff like that? You guys can sort all that.
We've got a niche where we're so busy. I've already mentioned the upgrades, but we do a lot of. We fell into a place where we do diesel conversions and Toyota engine conversions. So now, the workshop's so capable of it, but we've got it. We're known for something. So if they say, I want an LS1, I want an 80 series, we go, this is our favourite in Queensland, this is our favourite in Victoria, and this is, I wouldn't go anywhere else but these guys. So we
You stick to what you're good at and what you know. There's no point in sort of when there's other guys doing it that are very capable and that.
For sure.
and they're our mates.
Yeah, and they're our mates. And this is another thing. The community, you know, there's no one like fighting against each other. We're all like, how can we help each other? How can we benefit from each other? You know, like we'll sell your stuff. You know, like we put people onto you, they put people onto us. It's just
that's like the ultimate goal, isn't it? It's just everybody's like working with each other, and then that way the customers especially are getting a little bit more confidence in that you've dealt with these guys for X amount of time. They do this, if
100%.
they, and that just continues around in that circle, which is awesome.
And then we find ourselves, we wheel with these guys, we camp with these guys. They buy our product, we buy their product.
Yeah.
And we do our builds.
Well, if you were to do a build for yourself, like just you had the time, weren't worried about the budget, weren't worried about like any of it, wasn't to worry about selling and making your money back, what are you building?
You've got two massive different answers here, so we'll take turns.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, mine probably wouldn't be a Landcruiser.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd probably have an old like E30 BMW or something.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Just because it was like, like a lot of people that own these 40s, like that was one of my first cars that I looked cool in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
With the E30s, that's early to mid 80s, yeah?
Yeah, so 87 to sort of
They
92.
got the 4 round headlights still
That's
in
right,
that model, yeah.
Real, yeah. And
Yeah.
the coupe, like,
Yeah, they're good looking.
yeah,
Good
looking car, yeah. Something like that for me, I think. Just juiced up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing too. I'm not into crazy mad stuff, but yeah,
No,
something
fair
like that.
enough.
Yeah.
What about you?
You're just saying that. I'm thinking, I like hot dogs. I don't know. I love this. I'm not original, but I love that I have the 2H with all the fruit.
Yeah.
I'd probably have to pick the FTE though. That's like
Okay.
that's God's gift, I reckon. Is the after FTE, and I don't mean to be offensive, but I'm not interested in any Land Cruiser that's after that.
Okay.
So that's just not for me. So probably an FTE in a 40.
Yeah.
And then the gauge to suit and all the fruit. And
In a shorty, would you do? Or?
I like touring. I think one of my favourite things is outback Queensland, but it has to be cable. I have to be able to go to the springs, and when Richard's got his shorty going up a track, I want to go at least give the same tracks a go as the LS guys and that. I'm probably not as entertaining, but yeah, give me old diesels and.
Hey, we were just at the Springs, and Dave Reynolds,
Yeah,
one of our
2H,
friends,
Beer
2H
O'Clock.
turbo, went up Beer O'Clock Hill
Auto locker,
all the way.
Yeah.
no
and
locker
then,
in the front.
fair play to him. The guy in the a GU Patrol went up there with an LS L98 in it or something.
It was pretty tough.
It was tough, man. And it got up there and he gave it all the berries and just destroyed his running gear. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but 2Hs are cool.
Look, they are. The early one that we built up the coast, that was I feel like that was just a H motor though. That one with the old 4-speed. This one that we're doing now is the Clevo with that 4-speed. But definitely need to look at that power steering option because it looked a little bit complicated from what we were looking at. Because Aaron up at Aztec's been dealing with some of that for me. But yeah, I think we might need to come for a run up and.
Yeah, it's
have a look at
bread
the
and
power
butter
steering.
for us. We probably do 2 or 3 of those bloody a month.
Yeah. I'd need more than one build. I love a 2H, but I'd want a 12HT and an FTE. So
Yeah.
I just like
I need
retro
3
stuff,
cars.
like old stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you're in the right game. You know.
I can't see myself ever buying like a new car off the forecourt or something. You know, like. So,
Well, not them new 79s with the bloody hat section to hold the guard in place.
yeah, right. I've seen some
I'd
of
have
that.
one, but Toyota would have to
Yeah,
give it
it'd
to
have
me.
to be free.
Well, yeah. I don't even know that I mean,
We do
look,
love you, Toyota.
Look, I love Toyotas. I mean, there's a fucking wall that's at least half Toyota there, but I can't understand that move that they've done, like getting rid of the 79 bonnets, especially for me because I love the 79 bonnets because we put them on everything. But
It has to be something to do with the accountant, right?
no, they reckon it's all safety with the scoop.
You reckon? Yeah, right.
Well, that's what they've said. But then if you pop the bonnet and have a look at, Ruben actually brought it up. If you pop the bonnet and look at it, the framing is the same for the front guards, but it's got this like 2-inch high hat section to hold it, and
Yeah,
there's
I
only
see
like
that.
4 of
I
them.
see it,
It fucking saves that. I'd take one for free. I'd sell it and buy an earlier one, but that's me. But you guys do, as far as traveling and stuff, you guys do that. I'm going to get this wrong, but it's the drought drive.
Yeah, long drive for drought.
That's it.
Yeah.
There you go. So what's that all about?
Well, I'll let Paul because Paul's been on every single one. I've only been on a couple, so I don't feel like I'm as
Richard actually looks after the business.
Okay, right.
I just bugger off.
Sounds like a good deal.
I appreciate it.
You might have passed me another beer, mate. I'm happy.
Give us your soldier.
All right, yeah, sweet.
I better neck this one just so we're on the same playing card.
There's always more beer. These don't go down too bad. That's not
right.
That's not bad at all. Are they just while I'm talking about this? Are these just in every bottler? Or are they in specific bottlers or?
Liquorland.
They're trying to put them in more.
Yeah.
They're a young company. They pride themselves on being Australian. Won't go into it. If you look at all your other your big labels that you think are Australian, they're not Australian.
Not anymore.
So I think that's sort of
They've been bought up.
Yeah, well, my typical beer is that under that ash. What is
Asahi.
that? That.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
they
thought
own a lot of them.
Yeah, I thought it was like a proper, the beer from up here kind of. I thought it was an Australian thing.
Marketing, hey.
Got me.
we don't mind one of those.
No, I don't. I don't. When we're not drinking these, we're drinking them.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, look, if it's cold and bubbly, I'm pretty well sold.
Yeah, that's us.
But yeah, so the drive for
Long drive for the drought.
Long drive for
Long drive
yeah.
for drought. Yeah.
Long
We're going
drive
on
for
to our
drought.
fifth year. The first year there was 11 40 series, and now we're up to 50, and it's capped because it just you don't want to. It's got to be
become
enjoyable.
unmanageable. Yeah.
Yeah. The word drought, we've had a lot of rain. It's basically the money we raise goes to the Drought Angels, which they'll also do flood, rat plague, whatever. They're looking after the farmers. So
Yeah.
it's an opportunity for us from the east to look after the people that look after us. We just take it for granted. I'm having steak tonight. I'm
Yeah.
having vegetables tonight. So take that for granted. And it was, formed. Again, this is the 5th year. And so we've got to be entertaining for us as well. So there's a different location each time. And it's not just raising money. We'll go and visit farmers that are affected. They can tell their story. We'll spend town. I don't take any food. I'll make sure I spend in the small communities
That's
as
cool.
I go. And
Yeah.
we all sort of spend as we go to put back in. Because then you'll go to the bakery and then he'll spend the money we give him in that same town, and it circulates. So that's really healthy. But it's. I come from the country. I left school to work on farms, so I've got a soft spot for the hard-working people that look after us. And
For sure.
yeah, so that's but then Brent, the gentleman that runs it, does a great job. We all get to see these remote places, not just remote places, but he'll spend months studying roads that may be gazetted next to a main road.
Yeah.
So we're not actually just passing caravans and stuff. He'll ring the mayor. The mayor will say, you need to talk to Farmer Bob, and Bob will go, no, don't go down that road. We've had rain. You want to take this road, and takes us on an adventure. And this year where are we going?
We're Normanton. Normanton on the Gulf Carpentaria.
Yeah, right.
The Purple Pub.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What is a trip like that? Because obviously there's filming and there's everything else, which we all know adds so much time to stuff. But a trip like that, what do you dedicate sort of a couple of weeks to it? Or?
8 days is the main
days,
crust of it. So we've got to get to the start.
Yeah.
And then it's 8 days from the start.
Well, last one, it's about 40 series, but they're pretty relaxed because we're a sponsor. So we took our 60s last year, and
I did see that. Yeah, you brought the family along. Yeah.
Well, it ended at Birdsville, so we decided to take the kids out of school, both of us.
Yeah.
Take the kids out of school. After Birdsville, we did the Birdsville track, Maria up the Unadada, Uluru, Fink. Take the 60s with trailers across the Simpson Desert. That was fun.
Yeah.
1,100 sand dunes.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, so that was fantastic for the family. So that was an add-on to the long drive for a drought. That was worth taking the family out of the kids out of school. And
Yeah, see, that sounds awesome.
They'll learn more from doing that than they would, I reckon, being at school.
Oh, yeah.
This year's different. Kids can stay at home. I'm taking the 40.
Yeah, right.
Nice. See, that's definitely not the type of trip that this Clevo with a 4-speed's going to want to do. Not with a 40-litre surge tank.
You'll be all right.
Well, no, Richard, you're
I'm taking me shorty this year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys have got all long range tanks and all the extra gear.
Oh,
under
I'll have one of McKinnon's rear bar on with a couple of jerry cans, but
Yeah.
I've got like
I'll be
an
chucking my
8-foot
jerry
tray,
cans in the back of it.
Yeah, nice.
Lots of jerry
You're
cans.
my long range field.
Yeah, well, there's always one sucker in every trip. So, no, that's cool.
You're taking me 10. You've been taking everything.
Taking everything, yeah.
Nice.
Just try and make that shorty as light as possible.
So it doesn't
Get
drink.
the fuel down. Yeah.
And so does Ruthie still get involved in any of this stuff? Because I know he's obviously Milo's in a museum now.
Well, Milo's in a museum, and I think Milo 2 is on show at Terrain Tamer down in Sydney.
Yeah.
So I think pretty much, that was his out.
He's retired.
Yeah.
He's out. Yeah.
A legend of the game. He said something really nice once. He goes, "We have Clex, Classic Land Cruiser Expo and Car
The show, yeah.
And I invited him, and I kind of thought this was nice. He said, "There's a new generation. It's their turn." He goes,
Yeah.
I'm very flattered. He goes, "It's my turn to let a new generation come through." And
Yeah.
yeah, so.
And both of us, but I do have to thank John a lot for where I am today. You know what I mean? Like, it's,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Can't say
he's been a mentor with the filming, with everything like that.
Yeah.
He's been a mentor, shown us the sort of ropes, and the guy is so. How do you say it? Like, just he's done it for so long. With the magazine, he's so good behind the mic, on the stage or whatever like that. Like, and
Yeah.
definitely a good person to look up to. And
He's been nothing but fantastic to us.
Yeah.
From the early days that we mentioned, but as a friend, you can just call him up and
Yeah.
we still chat. Yeah. But, yeah.
He does seem like a good bloke, and he seems like he would just have a shit ton of stories.
Oh, heaps, man.
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
let him tell those
yeah.
another
Yes,
day.
yes.
So-
Yeah,
but I remember in 2012 lining up for his autograph. I never would have thought that the guy I'm lining up to sign my picture or my glove box lid would invite me around and become friends. So I still look at him in that sense that they're back in the day DVDs. They were the DVDs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. My old shop up the coast, we used to have that. I mean, I'm pretty sure it said on the back of them not to play in public or whatever, but they used to be in the showroom at my old shop, fucking on repeat, But
He's rerunning them all now without the ads on his YouTube.
Yeah. I did. I have seen a couple of those. I mean, I'm the same with that. Like, the likes of Barney, Gleno, like all these boys. It's like I'm still a fan. Like I get to.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah, there's still a certain buzz. It doesn't matter how many beers you have with somebody. Like that, it's like I bring up Barney a lot, but he was really instrumental for me in especially this in getting this off the ground with just conversations with him. Because as we were talking about like earlier off camera, it's like the concept came around with when you're doing shows. Like, how many times do you get asked the same fucking questions? And that's where this really kind of come from, was if someone had more than that 2 minutes with you, what would they want to know? And with this, I've said it a couple of times. It's not just the doors that get opened by doing this and the people that you get to meet. Like, I've really gotten a lot out of that. But the other part that I wasn't expecting was that in everything being so busy all the time now is that hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is, of shit, just phones are away and you're just actually having a conversation and a sit down, and it's like everything else can just fuck off for a minute. And that engagement is not something that, I mean, I definitely don't get it as much anymore as what we would have 10 years ago. COVID ruined a lot of that, and now everybody's kind of, everyone's in their phones and whatever else. Yeah, the amount of times you go out for a coffee, like me and my lady go out, and there's half the tables, the people that are sitting there aren't even talking to each other, looking at their phones.
Some really genuine, some really genuine people. You mentioned Barney, and then I instantly get the same feeling when it's people like Ruthie and Shauno that have given us a leg up. So they've put us on their channels, they've promoted us when we were nothing, when we were not nothing, but we social media, we were small. Yeah. And then Shauno said he booked his car in. We weren't a sponsor. He paid his bill, paid it on time, fantastic. And he goes, you guys are small. If you ever need anything whatsoever, and we're having a few drinks, we're having a show. Let's just ring Sean and can we have the Dirty 30? Can we have this? Can you? Not only can we have it, he paid for the transport to bring it to our shows. It's just genuine nice people that like little guys growing in the community.
That's how it should be, you know.
Absolutely. I think I've been. I was a fan of the show. Yeah, I mean, back when Ruthie was still on it, I felt like there was a bit of a. You remember like how they relaunched Top Gear with the different guys?
Yep.
I really felt like there was going to be a bit of that. Fuck, is this going to work without him? But I mean, Graham and I think it was Graham Shawno. I know Jock came along a bit later, but there was one of the other boys, the bald guys, was always out having a bit of fun. But I think he stayed with Kings. I think he stayed with Adventure Kings.
Oh, I know the guy. Yeah, I forgot his name.
And you had was it, Wholesale Automatics was with him.
Rocket Rod and those boys. Yeah.
So Rocket Rod was really nice to me. Really nice. Back in the jewellery days, so I said Treads 4-wheel-drive jewellery.
Yeah.
I said, I want to do the Melbourne show, but they charge $3,000 for a 3x3, and then you've got to buy this. And he goes, I've got a massive stage. What do they charge you? $3,000. And then I'll make this up a little bit because I can't remember dollar value, but he goes, well, for $2,000 I'll include your Wi-Fi. I'll include everything if you can afford. So he dropped the price, included all the extras, and then Treads 4-wheel-drive jewellery got to be in the Melbourne show on Rocket Rod stand.
The Wholesale Automatic stand,
There was he didn't ask me for anything. There was nothing in it extra for him. He just saw somebody that was having a crack.
Yeah.
Liked the concept. So it was helpful.
Yeah. It does
There's been
seem,
a few people like that. So,
it does seem like a lot of those boys. Barney's a good one for, I mean, he shared a few on camera, but there's a whole lot more stories get told off camera about, some of the antics and shit that they get up to. But it does really seem like, Ruben said the same thing. It's like, it's mates traveling and if I remove the business hat for a minute and just go to that kind of fanboy follower thing, there's definitely a challenge I have in swallowing all the salesmanship that's in it now. And I did like it a little bit more sort of in the earlier days, but I mean, I guess I've sort of been put in my place with that a couple of times. Like, they got fucking bills to pay. The shows aren't free, and I get that.
It's no secret. I watch a lot of things on YouTube. I don't watch four-wheel drive action.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that Shauno's nice to us.
Yeah.
He's been a fantastic guy. He's supported us.
Yeah.
He's looked after us along the way. I might not follow all. You can't watch everything.
No, and I've met Sean a couple of times at a couple of different shows, and he's always been polite and stuff like that. So I remember when I think they were. It was around because obviously I deal with Raptor a lot. It was around the time when they were Raptor and about to Raptor Sooty, but I sort of found out later like how far back some of the stuff's filmed. So I reached out and like if you want anybody to do it, I've been doing it for years, blah blah blah. But yeah, I think they probably by the way that editing's done, they'd probably already done it and gone on a trip by then. But yeah, everybody that I've had interactions with has been really good to deal with. I think there's been a couple of the guys over the years that I think if you catch them at the wrong time and while they're not being while they're not
we're
being
all human, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, they all seem really cool, and it's good to see the level of depth that they go into with some of the builds, like some of the stuff that you guys are doing on your channel as well, like actually explaining stuff to people. Because there's so many of these. And I mean, I'm like a Gas Monkey Garage, Fast and Loud sort of fan, all those sort of American shows. But I like it when there's some actual information for people that are doing stuff at home where they can actually take that and go and have a crack themselves as well. Because if worst case scenario comes out, they just give it to you and you got to unpick all the issues and fucking do it again.
You've mentioned Ruben. He's supported us. He had a ute. He's got a few parts on his shorty, but his ute, he got in contact. Got all these things like just little things because he's got a patina, so weather strips,
Yep.
type of thing.
I think that's one of the things people don't. But we do our YouTube stuff and we do the workshop stuff. You see that, but a lot of people probably don't get that we do parts new, used, and we got there's heaps of them if you go on the internet, and there's more every day, But people maybe don't realise that we do so much, and we've got so much, so much parts.
There's that many 40 series forums now. Richard and I don't like to comment on it a great deal. We're running our own race, but we do notice someone will say, you can't get that journey on anymore. And it's like, oh, we've got it on the shelf.
On the shelf,
Yeah.
The boys at work do a lot of work behind the scenes of, like just finding it from Japan or Saudi Arabia or wherever, there's still new old stock sitting there on a shelf somewhere, and it's out there to be found, hey? And we've got a lot of it. Yeah.
And then when we really exhaust things and we can't, we go, who are the small guys doing it? Can we approach them and support them and sell their product?
Yep.
Or shall we talk to our contacts to have stuff in reproduction and put it back into, get it back on the shelf? We do a little bit of that. We're starting to expand that as well.
Well, yeah. I guess that's one of those things where the parts you can ship anywhere and everywhere, and whereas the workshop's a little bit still, limited by man hours and what you can fit
and
in.
Size, yeah.
And size, yeah.
Our building's so big, and we're happy in that building for now. So
time for a new Mr. Landcruiser World Headquarters.
I think so.
It'll happen.
It'll happen.
Are you gonna, if you guys do a move, you're going to stay like up around there somewhere, or at least north side?
Richard's Tewantin, Noosa, and so he does 200 k's a day.
Yeah,
And
that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm local. So
Is that like, what time do you start in the morning?
I leave home at 5:30.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's commitment.
And then get back about the same time.
And you've been
12
doing that
hours
for this
later.
whole sort of 7 years.
No,
I'll say he doesn't just leave home at 5:30. Before that happens, he gets up and go to the gym at 4 or wherever. So,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Bloody work ethic like the fucking rock.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
ain't going to happen any other way, I suppose.
No,
I've
there's-
got kids and shit.
Yeah.
You get home, you ain't going to do it then.
No, we'll see the world headquarters. You could have like a gym at work.
Yeah, true.
There you go.
Wouldn't use it.
No, so I tried it here, didn't get used at all.
You say gym at work. In the early days, we had no money. It's just a bright idea. Richard had a client that wanted a car built, and I said, I can help you with parts. So we said, well, let's make this happen, and we'll work together, 2 separate businesses. And that's how it sort of started and it grew from there. But neither of us had a dollar. I decided to start a business while a divorce happened. So there was a dollar figure that I went into the negative.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I went into the negative.
Yeah.
But I could afford this shed.
Yeah.
And so Richard and I would sleep in the shed.
Yeah, we'd camp out there and
Yeah.
couldn't afford fuel.
Couldn't
Yeah.
afford to go home every
Yeah.
night. We didn't have a dollar, so... And it's funny, with social media, you get, they're in it for the money. And yes, I do want to make a dollar and look after my family. Absolutely.
For sure.
No ifs or buts. But generally, we slept in the shed. We have a little fire every night, have a few beers, and somehow we're still mates. That business partners that go camping and wheeling, and our families love each other. And so, so it wasn't... Yeah, you don't just start a business and fall into money. There's no daddy's money.
No, look, hey, I've told this story a few times as well. I separated with my kid's mum in 2016. Because I'm a fucking shit employee. I think in 12 months I probably had 5 jobs. Just left them all because I'm like, as soon as I get my head around something, I'm bored. Like I have to have that creative freedom and that challenge and all that. So, and because we'd gotten rid of the old shop up the coast, and when that split happened, I left everything. I just took my clothes. I was like, I didn't want my kids' lives to change at all. So I had a shitty old
I relate. Exactly the same thing.
Subaru Outback, I think it was, and yeah, I bounced around for 12 months and. Literally, because of everything that happened with that separation, I wasn't able to get any kind of loans or anything like that. So I started this. I sold that car for $2,000, borrowed Mum's car, and which is a little Mazda 3, and bought some rolls of tint and some tinning tools and just went back to what I know and opened the doors in November 2017. And it's just, since then. We're still the same. Still the same. We don't have credit cards. We don't have anything. Everything in here is just you pay for it as you go. The only bills we get, we don't run accounts. Everything we order, we ring up and pay for. And
we're the exact same.
Yeah, it just keeps it.
There's no
simple.
credit.
You know,
No.
Yeah. People
Stay away
purchase
from that
something.
shit.
Yeah. But when we do it as well, like if I ring up and order whatever it is, it's paid for there and then, but it's not even on credit cards. It's all like Visa debit cards. Like we just
exactly the same.
how I started it. I got to the end of that first year and I was like, this is actually a lot less stressful than having accounts coming in.
Our size, it can get difficult, but we've maintained it.
Yeah.
We've maintained it. And people go, what deposit do you want? And it's like, we do a day's work, us for a day's pay. So it's not about a deposit. But in saying that, you'll break it up a little bit. So, because you don't want somebody owing you and a big amount at the end.
No, I run
They
the
could be
same.
a slow payer or for whatever reason.
You'll get burnt once or twice and never do it again. Hey?
I'm trying to be polite. They could be a slow payer, or they could just be like Are we allowed swear?
Fuck yeah.
They could just be a cunt.
Well, there you go. That's the first C-bomb. I love it. We do the same. It's just, I run on the deposit system. It's like we take whatever. It depends on the job and it depends on how long I'm going to have it for,
We're
too.
the same.
Like if it's an underbody that we're doing, it's like, well, I don't run that because it's an overnight booking. Like you're going to be back tomorrow. You know you're going to be back tomorrow. That's fine. But if I'm ordering parts in, if I'm outlaying, then I cover that, or at least try to.
We support small businesses, and we don't expect them to have a 30-day wait. So we're the same. If that small mum and dad business need money up front, we'll ask for money up front.
Oh, in the early days, we had a customer that nearly destroyed the whole project.
Just you nearly destroyed you guys.
Yeah. From just like and it wasn't a lot, but back then, it didn't.
$500
matter.
is a lot when you don't have
exactly.
$500.
And this was, a few thousand,
and they agreed at a $50 a week.
Yeah.
And we said, no.
Well, we had a couple.
Sorry, mate.
No. It was before that. In the early days, there was the early one, and nearly destroyed the whole thing. Nearly couldn't carry on, So it's like, and then subsequently had one more. And that was it. Then we just changed the whole company policy. It was like, this is how we're going to roll from now on, and everybody's really, all the customers understand.
We meet some nice people.
Yeah. I think when you have that structure, like I've never had a drum with it. I've never had anybody when I've quoted up a job, whether it's again, if it's something that I'm ordering stuff in for, anything from a $3-4 grand job might be, suspension and rust proofing, whatever. It's like anything from that through to, some of the bigger builds have been, 50, 80 grand. At no point has anybody ever said, gee, what do I got to pay a deposit for?
You just got to make it very clear at the start of your relationship with the customer that this is how it's going to go down,
Yeah. I've never had anybody have a drama. I've probably never really said it in a way that was like they had a choice though either. So, it's like, well, if we're going to do that, this is your overall price, this is your deposit, this is what's payable at the end. And they just say, okay, because it's what it is.
Yeah.
But
no, we've had just luck with some great people. Somebody could come in, drop their car off, leave for a couple $100. It might be a service or whatever, right through to well over 50,000.
Yeah.
It's not just can you drop this engine in, but I want the upgraded gearbox, change the diffs. They're all rebuilt. They've got all the lockers. Can you do my interior? Like, yep, we'll orchestrate that.
And then there's everything else you find.
The engine's fully rebuilt.
Yeah.
So it's they just. Can you do this?
Yeah, but then like you've got on some of your videos too, it's like it's not just what they want, it's what you find that needs to be done too. And on these old girls, it's probably more often than not that something pops up.
It always, but we've sussed that really well. So we do. Richard and I have this. We call it a 3-hour report, and sometimes it takes longer. But we do a report on the car.
Yeah.
And when I use an example that the car needs something, so we put the worst case scenario in an estimate in everything, and then you either come under or a lot of times you find extra stuff because they're so old.
Yeah.
But that extra stuff is covered because you've already given the worst case scenario. So, So we're pretty good at nailing our estimates and stuff.
Yeah, I play a little bit the same way. I'll say to people, like, look, this is what I'm thinking is going to happen. But just so you're aware, if we find more, like, I'm going to give you a call and let you know and get some direction. Yeah, and that's exactly right. Because you're never going to rock up at the end and have a bigger bill than what you were expecting without me talking to you and getting some guidance.
Communication.
That's it. It just keeps things so much simpler. But as far as the car show that you touched on before, that's October. I want to say it
this
is
year
October.
it's October the 12th, which is a Saturday. To our knowledge, and we'll stand by this, it's the biggest classic pre-89 Land Cruiser show in the world. You can get 600 Land Cruisers together, but not pre-89.
Not early ones, you know.
And we exclude, it's not counting 70 series, and no offence, we love 70s, we love 80s, but it's not our core business. It's not what our hobby is, what we go and do on weekends. So it's 60s and 40s, and last year we had 269 in the arena, and we're back. And not only are we back, but all our the vendors that are there are related, so they'll sell other stuff. But if you own a 40 or a 60, they've got the businesses cater for so McKinnon's cruises,
and it's growing. It's like the show's getting bigger, which is astonishing, really, because you think, it's 40s and 60s only, but like it's just the more vendors want to be involved.
The vendors come from all over Australia. The cars, it's a one-day show. They drive from all over Australia. A lot of Victorians come up. This year we've got a Tasmanian in a 80 series chassis with a pig, the Iron Pig, the 55 on an 80.
Yep.
Is it a 15 BT?
I think so.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on it, but
But it's coming from all the way from Tassie, so we open up camping, bar and band and what have you on the Friday night. The Saturday night, it's a bloody long drive, so a lot of us or little groups get together and then go, let's go to the beach, let's go to the glass house. And the beach is popular because not every state gets to wheel on beaches. So
really?
Yeah. Oh, the Victorians... They can poke out on the beach, but they can't go anywhere. Like they can take a picture.
They can't do like what we do. The DI.
I didn't know that. What? That's the differences between bloody state to state is just mental. I mean the rego, and going over the pits and all the other stuff and the allowances is dumb enough. But I did not know you couldn't drive on the beaches down there.
I think you can in New South Wales.
Because I've wheeled it. I've been to Pebbly Beach, and it's all beach access to get to Pebbly Beach and things like that. But Victoria, I believe
they're talking of shutting down Tiawa and Rainbow, limiting the numbers. I see that over the last couple of days.
Yeah, I've. The drama is that the more you Google, the more rabbit holes you go down, the more reasons that there are why they're doing it. But I mean, it's got to be. I mean, my 5 cents worth. It's got to be damage and rubbish.
Richard would see it more like I'll go and camp. It's Richard's neighbourhood, so I'll go camp with Richard. But you see it. But Richard go to the beach every weekend up there across the barge. But when I go with him, it's like you do see people leave the gazebo behind because it blew over. So instead of just taking it down to the dumpster or folding it up and taking it, you must know that you're fucking it for everyone else. But
especially with like the last few years, and I mean I'm going to say like several years because I think there's a post on my old shops. Well, I mean they still have it. They still have the Facebook page, so maybe they've taken it down. But I've never been backwards and coming forwards with some of that stuff. And we were out at it was one of the telly tracks, and there was a site there where there was like I feel like I haven't looked at the photo in years, but I feel there was a couch and just piles of shit. And like I took a photo of it, like from the front seat, like looking over the bonnet, and it's like you bunch of fucking wankers. Like it's been going that way for 10 years. And so people have been drawing attention to it.
I feel they'll quickly blame, and maybe there's some truth to this, but they'll quickly blame bureaucrats in the city don't understand. They're closing everything on us. Clean it up, look after it, show them how much we love Australia. Take a little bit of effort.
It's not hard, eh? It's not hard. Right.
No, I was having a conversation with somebody probably 3 years ago now. The concept of jeez,
Bloody hell.
a shit host, bloody hell, rough. Now, where were we at? We're talking about your car show. It's 269 last year, and this year in October you're aiming for more.
We'd like to hit the 300.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But it obviously needs more people in the community to get involved and make the drive, make the trip. Down, up or down to Queensland or across to Queensland.
They've been fantastic, though, the community. They just come together and absolutely fantastic.
Where are you having it?
At Caboolture Showgrounds.
It is. Okay, cool. Yeah.
And anyone interested, it's on our website now that you can register your car, register camping, or just buy general admission tickets to come and have a look.
Well, I mean, I would hope, Aaron, I would hope our 40 series is done in time to come down to that.
It doesn't have to be ready. It's not about registered cars. No. People bring them and push them off trailers.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, it's show and tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool.
And kind of it's good, to see some builds that are halfway through, and talk to the people involved. One of the things is, a lot of people communicate over the forums or over the internet and stuff, and a lot of people put the face to who they're talking to,
yes,
with whether it be suppliers or guys that give advice or whatever, it's one of the best things about it, I reckon.
We never see it as competition. So, for example, we may sell McKinnon's Cruisers products, Whistle and Soot products, we sell Terrain Tamer products, but they're all invited to make the sales themselves. So
well, it's all part of that community too, though.
Yeah, bring it all together.
Yeah, I mean, I've had conversations with people after, we've had some faces on here, and people are like, like Ruben chop stuff, man. What do you got Ruben for? I'm not competition to him. Like, I'm not chopping new stuff. It's like, and even if we are, like, I mean, with the snorkels that we do, like in-house fabrication, if somebody, like wants one of their snorkels, but they don't want our logo on it, it's like, okay, well, that's cool, go there. It's everybody. It's such a personalised thing when you're building a truck that, I think it should be open for everybody to have a chat and refer, and it's like there's no secrets in it anymore.
No, the industry's big enough that there's room for all of us. It's like you can't have
no
one
one's
barber.
running out of work, eh?
No,
not at all. We're all booked out for months.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of that sort of, what would the word be? There's a little bit of negativity around, but the business stuff and keeping secrets and holding on to customers, it's like so 80s, 90s. Like, I mean, the internet these days, there's so much information out there. Like, people are the ones that spend the time and do the research. They're coming into the conversation so much more educated that it really is now. It's just about customer service. You're not really selling anybody anything. You're giving information. Maybe if they don't have all of the details, like someone comes to you, like even me, the concept of going to a 5-speed instead of this old 4-speed. Like I know, I mean, the dot points of that from a basic standpoint that it's a better option, but as far as the gearing that's involved and what that's going to do with my revs at 100, I wouldn't have a clue. I'm a sheet metal guy, so
I sort of see it. Sometimes you may call us and ask us a heap of questions and then run off and do it yourself. But if you've had a good experience with us over the phone, the email, then you might say, recommend us. So it's not, we don't,
It's tough sometimes, right? Like for instance, coming from the long weekend, and there's 68 messages to go through, right? Sometimes we're sorry that someone might get missed or might get overlooked, but we don't do that on purpose.
No, for sure.
It's hard sometimes. It's so busy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
With the name Mr. Landcruiser, the full name is Mr. Landcruiser Classic Specialist, but Mr. Landcruiser, so we get calls about 200s and 300s because it's just Mr. Landcruiser, so they think, but I try and make the time. Sometimes I'll text back, but I try and make the time to ring them and say, we don't actually sell this product. I believe this person sells that product. Or
Yeah, I mean, we get it too. Like, I mean, Raptor's one of the biggest things for me, and every now and then I'll get someone that'll ring up or message or whatever about, what they want to do themselves and that, and I'll take them through it because it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, I would rather not have that job, but know that they've got at least as much information as I can give them to help them so that their job's not going to turn out like a tiger-striped piece of shit. Because at the end of the day, if you spend that bit of time with them, it's cost me nothing.
Yeah.
And if they're going to get a better job out of it and they're happy with it, if they tell anybody, half of their friends are going to have a crack themselves, but the other half are like, I'm not doing that. Who did you talk to? They pass that along. Same thing, like what you just said. It's just that interaction and the customer service. It's so much more of a focus. I feel like people that are aware of it, it's more of a focus now. I feel like a lot of businesses, it's their last focus. We've had this conversation a few times about there's certain people, certain companies in this industry that have an enormous name that just don't really follow up with the customers anymore. They don't put that effort in anymore.
We've experienced that.
Yeah.
No names, but
No.
I think you have to concentrate on that as a growing business, though, don't you? Like, not losing touch with your core people and following up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We
it is
have-
easy to, like
It is.
when it runs away.
Yeah, for sure.
We've had not a new problem. It's been around a little bit, but social media, they'll steal your name, your logo, and
The fake profiles.
Yeah,
The fake profile.
pictures of our kids.
Really?
Yeah, mate. they
our
go deep.
address.
Yeah.
So there'll be a fake Mr. Landcruiser with maybe 1,000 followers. Those 1,000 people, maybe if they get 5% of them to leave a deposit, but on their profile has our address. So people will come around, say, I'm here to pick up my Hilux bull bar, and it's like, oh, we don't do anything Hilux, and you get chatting, we know straight away that they've...
It's sad, right? You get people walking in the yard saying, "Oh yeah, here to pick up my bull bar for my 80 series." It's like, man, we don't even sell bull bars for 80 series for one.
Holy shit.
And then you sort of, it dawned, or the first couple of times when it started happening, it dawned on us, and you're like, "Oh, sorry, mate, you've been scammed, man." And then they going through all these emotions of, realizing that they've given up $400 to somebody that's not real or whatever, and yeah, it's pretty fair.
We've had 2 in 2 days. So yesterday, Richard and I worked. It was a public holiday. Richard and I worked, and a gentleman said how disappointed we were in the way we treat women. We talk to her this way, we talk to her that way. But I read in the email, it was an ongoing conversation about 60 series scrub rails, and then instantly we don't sell 60 series scrub rails. So I knew it wasn't us. And looking into it, they've got one of the fake ones. They got on the phone, and so then I'm glad that gentleman reached out, because then I could explain the story. But if he hadn't reached out, he would just say Mr. Landcruiser's a bunch of F-wits or whatever.
Plus, you don't get many chicks phoning up Mr. Landcruiser, It's like pretty exciting when that shit happens.
When it does happen, they get extra service. 'Cause it's there. So, we had another one today send us an invoice. He was really nice. He sent us an invoice and said, "Look, this is what happened. It's got all our details, Mr. Landcruiser, our address, everything on the invoice, apart from the bank details, which was to some Pedro guy." And I sat there, I rang 3 different departments. I saw the BSB, so I Googled it. It's ANZ. I rang 3 different departments, finally got onto a 4th department, and they're going to shut it down. So, yeah,
But Paul's
hard work.
taken the, it's not easy either to get your blue tick. So if Mr. Landcruiser's now got this blue tick, you have to pay for that just to be verified. And
What's that on?
On Facebook,
Social media.
on social media.
You're verified.
Yeah.
Do I have that?
Yeah, the advantage.
Probably not.
Not yet. It's pretty tough. It's not easy, hey?
Yeah,
It's
not
not
yet.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a
It's
thing.
not easy.
Yeah.
Get
The verification, yeah. But it does have benefits. So there's this fake Mr. Landcruiser, and I report it. They're not interested.
Oh, we'd get the community to report them.
Yeah.
I know they wouldn't do anything.
But we've had one shut down instantly once you get verified. You go, they're using our logo, our address, our photos, and we had them shut down.
I know there's that whole pay ID shit that was going through Messenger for a while that people were, just send us your pay ID, and I don't know how the fuck any of that works, but I knew when people were advertising on Marketplace, there was a lot of that scam going on, and I have seen a few have been sent to me where there's a listing, and it's a dodgy listing, and it might be like I don't know, what's a 80 series worth these days, like $8,000. There might be one on there for $1,500 running with Rego, and it's like that's clearly a dodgy one.
That's
and you click onto their profile, and it's only been created three flicks ago, like a week ago.
We're getting $200 bull bars. Like they get the $200, they send them to our address.
And then we got to pick up the pieces, like having these people come in.
Yeah, that's
the realisation and.
But as Richard was saying, this verification, it's helped. Now, when I make a complaint, I report something on social media,
and it gets dealt with better.
It gets dealt with.
Can you open up Facebook and go to Wildside? I need to see this. I feel like we did a heap of this stuff, but it's so far out of my fucking realm.
Scared of it.
Yeah, for the keen eyes, we've fixed the showroom. Just go into search and do.
There's a handsome photo.
There you go. Just do Wildside Garage. There you go. Click that. Yeah, that'll do. So where is this tick?
Well, if you go to
if you go to Mr.
Landcruiser, you'll see it.
Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah, there it is.
There's a little blue tick.
Ah, next to the name. Well, go into the Wildside one and click the name. I want to see if it's in there.
Oh, you have to fill out paperwork.
Oh, there's a lot to do.
I don't have a tick.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Oh, well. I guess we'll put that on the to-do list. Mm-hmm. So, luckily enough, we haven't had any of that yet. But then, parts, obviously, it's a lot different.
Especially second-hand parts. I think you can take advantage of that as an unscrupulous person.
Yeah. As far as because there's a lot of the reproduction stuff. So you guys, how far back does Toyota go with when people can actually ring up Toyota and get a part?
I think we have an advantage where their catalogues go to 69, all 69. But we've had enough jobs in to realise what fits and what doesn't. Mm-hmm. So we can, if you've got a 1964, we can figure it out.
Yeah.
But excuse me, on the other side, I put a 75 disc brake rear axle in that year there in my ute, and then Richard seen a 79 series axle sitting in the yard, so he's gone out. You should tell the story, Richard, because Richard's gone out and measured it and realised. You tell it.
We had a carcass of a 79 series, just a casing. And I'm like, man, everybody talks about the tracks the same as the old ones and blah, blah, blah. So we go out and measured it, and, they're braced, they're strong, they've got all this extra welding on them. And I was building my shorty at the time, and I was doing the dimensions, everything's the same. Obviously, the perches have got to be moved anyway, so we cut all those off, and it's exactly the same. But they're 5-stud, right? So, but in the 79 series, but 60 series hubs fit straight on them. So
really,
and because we got all the abundance of parts out in the yard, I could just go out and trial and error, and 47 rear shafts fit.
47 pumpkin fits.
Yeah, well, I've got an 80 series pumpkin in my 79 series rear axle air locker. Yeah, but it's all the same, like all the way through. All interchanges. Yeah, it's cool. It's only when they went to the high pinion in the front that you couldn't put the the rear diff in the front. It's all the same stuff. Yeah.
So that means, you're going to start taking some newer trucks in, and
it's all. We did a video on my shorty, and we showed that you could do it, and the tricks behind it. And then you use the 75 series discs, and there's a little bit of a modification that needs to be done to the caliper carriers, just a little bit of machining, and it all works perfectly. Yeah, and that will be an answer when all this shit runs out. Everything's running out.
Yeah, we have to figure this out because we're not wrecking 40s like we used to.
What happened through COVID? Did you guys go crazy through COVID like everybody else? Yeah.
I kind of figured when you're not allowed to do anything, you can't even go and have a schooner, you can't do anything, but you've got time. If you're fortunate enough to still be working, work on your build.
Yeah. How did that affect you guys with running your show? Did you guys have to shut down at all?
No, it was like essential, you know.
I know. I've said this we didn't have a day off. Yeah.
We were lucky. The whole workshop got COVID at the same time. So those that chose to, we shut the gates and just worked.
Yeah.
We didn't have no QR code at the gate or nothing like that.
No, I never did any of that either. I had I tested positive for it, and I never got anything other than it was like a chest infection, but I was still smoking at the time. So it was kind of like whatever. Have the
We
week
were
off.
the same. Richard nearly died on the vaccine.
Yeah, I got the vaccine.
Did you?
Yeah,
knocked him
fucking nearly
bad.
killed me, man. I swear.
Yeah, I think I got the first two. Someone put the fear up me though, because I was not doing it. I was like, nah, fuck it, I'm not having it. And I got pissed off twice by not getting let in somewhere when we were going out. And then someone said to me about like, oh, you know, if your kids are up in the hospital, if something happens to them, they won't let you in.
Listen, this is,
all right, fuck,
this
all
is
right, I
exactly
gotta
what
go.
happened. So my daughter suffered from a condition called scoliosis, which is like a and she had
Curvature
it
of the
real-
spine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she had it real bad.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't even take her for a consultation and she was 14 at the time.
Yeah,
And they made her, and she had to have the vaccine, and I had to have it if I wanted to go in with her. And it was just like, it's mental. I would never ever have given my kids,
No.
they never needed to have that shit.
No.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no.
yeah, it's good.
And like even now, like the fucking stories about it. I think it was, I don't know what the numbers are. You probably Google it, but there was more people got adverse ongoing shit from the vaccine than they did from having bloody COVID.
Anybody that's been to Rainbow Beach recently will see they've got like a bit like a shrine, or you know, it's called you walk through the Rainbow Beach sort of up from the beach, and there's all these stakes with people that have got vaccine injuries, and it goes on and on and on and on, and it's quite shocking. Yeah, it's quite mad.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
But
how
at
they
least
push that through.
people are talking about it. You know,
Yeah.
it's getting out there now.
Well, I think if there was any kind of government underlying bullshit that happened with all that, they fucking won't get away with it twice.
No, well, let's hope not.
Well, nobody's gonna play that game again.
But when the world does, when it all does come to an end, 2Hs will still be running. we call them
probably true.
the apocalyptic vehicles of the future.
Yes.
They're excellent for that. We, you know, was it my the alternator relay
Yeah.
had blown?
Yeah.
And just I was with Ruthie actually and Richard, and so I've got no alternator whatsoever. I'm putting however many.
Well, we had thousands of Ks to do.
Yeah, so I just grabbed Ruthie's battery, disconnected the alternator. So I had John's battery to give me indicator and brake lights.
Yep.
And your battery was in John's charging,
Yeah.
and we'd do the swap over so he had lights like every day.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
How did it? This is going to sound. There's going to be some mechanic out there that's going to laugh their ass off at the moment. But how do you keep it running if the alternator's
Well,
not?
they don't need it.
Don't need it.
All they need is fuel and air once they're running. So like so it's always they're not like like a rotary pump. A later rotary pump's got a solenoid
Yeah.
that has to be powered.
Because they're
to
a
open
mechanical.
Yeah,
They're a
the
mechanical.
full mechanical.
Right.
And
Of course are.
they rely on something called an edict motor with a rod that shuts the fuel off.
Yep.
And enriches it for startup. But if you take that rod off and you start the engine, it will run until it runs out of diesel. Or sump oil or kerosene or whatever you want to put.
Just experimenting. It was Richard just experimenting. We put sump oil in the fuel tank.
Yeah.
It runs fine because the injector pump's not lubricated by the fuel.
So yeah, modern diesel pumps like a rotary pump
Yeah.
rely on the lubricating additives in the fuel.
Right.
They're not fed by the sump oil, but old inline pumps like the 2H has its own oil feed from the engine. So all the goings on at the bottom of the diesel pump is all lubricated by the engine. So it doesn't really matter what you put through it. You know, to an extent.
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah, you can't put petrol.
Or
for it,
short term even.
Yeah.
But when the world goes bad, we won't be going after fuel. We'll be going after some
Some
oil.
plugs.
It works.
Yeah.
It works better if you've got 4 parts sump oil and 1 part
Yeah.
unleaded,
Yeah.
lubricated a bit.
Right.
Just to thin it out a bit, but yeah. They will literally, they were designed in a time where fuel probably wasn't as refined as it is now, or the farmer had to use whatever, or there was a bit of silt in it, or it got mixed with a bit of water. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Jesus, even the fuel stations back then wouldn't have been as filtered and everything as they are now.
It's cool. The old H engine, its injector pump is serviceable. So when you do your service on your engine, you drop the oil in your injector pump and do your.
Because it wasn't fed from the engine.
What scares me about all that though, like these the new age mechanics. Well, who was it? Was it Steve who was down here talking about he got his Navara? No, what was it? A Hilux? Something I can't remember what it was. He was in the middle of doing cat back exhaust and took it in for a service or its 1,000K check or whatever it was. They checked over it and he hadn't put the exhaust back on. It was still just down to the cat, and they ticked off the exhaust as being perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And you're like, quality. You imagine fucking rocking up with one of these things to like a Toyota dealership these days, they'd be sitting there scratching their heads.
Yeah.
Half the boys. I mean, I'm sure there's still some old school guys out there.
There are heaps.
But, for the average guy getting signed off as a mechanic these days, and you throw one of them pumps at him as serviceable,
It blows me away to have a job at Mr. Landcruiser, and any apprentices we've had, they've just turned up, they've volunteered, they won't go home. So you go, this guy's got the job.
Yeah.
But to be an apprentice at Mr. Landcruiser, mechanic, you might have to put weather strips on a car. You might have to do mild electrical. It's much more than engines and gearboxes.
Oh,
it's like this one, because it's a roadworthy, you will have to fix a reverse light. You will have to put a new weather strip in the quarter glass window. But there's no tools.
You're hearing guys getting ticked off for as a mechanic or whatever. They never rebuilt a diff. They never had a gearbox apart. We do. Us that are into it, we do it at home. We take an engine apart. I did it from when I was 14, 15. I used to take stuff apart like that. But you're a mechanic. You're signed off, and you don't know. You've never been interested even to take it apart. I don't know.
That's what blows me away. So we'll have a workshop send us a diff. We'll have an auto elec send us a fuel control relay. So qualified trades are asking us to do,
which is cool.
It's cool for you guys, but it's like makes you nervous thinking about it. Like same thing. I've been playing with metal for 25. I don't have a piece of paper that says anything, but we had a Sparky. Well, we had a 12-volt guy come down. 3 years ago now, doing up a quote for a big Iveco truck that we were doing, or Zuzu truck, sorry. And he was like I can fit the spotties and stuff, but I can't run that. I can't create that panel and run this wire and that and create a harness. I'm like, it's fucking 12. Are you you're 12? You're qualified? Yeah, but I do accessories.
Yeah.
Fuck me. I can fit a winch. Yeah. I can fit spotties. Like that's the stuff that they're. But I mean, I guess if they're changing the industry standards to what's likely to be being serviced and installed down the track, it's all computers and everything. Yeah, it is the new norm. But it's pretty crazy.
Our guy would not be able to walk into that world, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to. He's. We've had several apprentices that have come through, and they just show up. I don't know where they come from. They come to buy a part and say, "Can I come after school, after work?"
Yeah,
and just learn some stuff. And all of a sudden, they're not going home. So it's like. This guy's leaving. There's an opening for you,
and it's cool sort of to see the younger world, right? So we got these young guys, apprentices or whatever, and then it wasn't until then I found out that there's this whole world of 40 series lovers on like Snapchat or
Snapchat pages.
like chatting and all, and they come to the show and all meet up,
and
be like, wow, there's like this whole world of young guys, like, you know, using the new medium of Snapchat or whatever. It's not new, it's been around for ages, but you know what I mean.
Our
So,
TikToks are all young guys. It's mad, the young guys through TikTok.
Yeah.
Ours, I
They're
think,
not on Facebook.
I think our biggest interaction with people commenting on stuff is TikTok. There's always, I mean, you get the keyboard warriors, but there's always more interaction on that. But it's usually, again, it comes down to that. You know, somebody will say something in a podcast or it might even be somebody who writes a comment, and then under their comment there'll be 40 people fucked off with them, and they'll be replying to that comment. You know, but that's where it seems to be where all the interaction is. But the guys coming through these days, it's almost like the stuff that you're doing. It's kind of like, you know, whether I'm building a gas tank like for a bike or whatever it is, like any of the sheet metal stuff. It's like, you guys have got a passion for what you do, and I've got a passion for the sheet metal stuff, and but I'm also aware of the stuff that I used to watch. That was done through necessity, not, you know. Whereas they're watching the stuff these days, and it's like, oh, it's the new, you know,
The new cool.
the new cool, yeah. You know, they're watching it because it's like, oh, you guys are doing it, and people are driving it, and people on TV shows like Shauno with the I was gonna say the mud rat, what is it?
Farm truck?
The farm truck.
Yeah.
Fucking mud rat. You know, Shauno's driving a 45, or, you know, and so now these young guys seeing it, they're like, oh, well, they're into that now, and they're seeing all the videos and socials and stuff, and it's like, oh, that's cool. So, well, but you know, like I think it was Ruthie talking about, like, it was Toyotas that opened up Australia back in the day. You know, it's like
100%.
they were a work vehicle, something that actually allowed us to go and do some stuff. And now it's like this next generation just thinks they're cool because someone's driving one. You know,
Well, people complain about their prices, and sometimes Richard and I will go, oops, sorry about that, because we promote them as hard as we can.
Yeah.
So,
But talking about that, we got a lot of customers that they don't want to buy the 79 as a work rig. You know, they're buying a 40 ute, and they're turning it into their ultimate. They're spending the same money.
yeah.
yeah,
But
here's
they're-
my budget.
Yeah,
I can
but
afford
and
a
at the
79.
end of it, they're ending up with something that's totally different from everything else. It's unique.
Something you're not going to lose in the car park.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that's pretty cool. You know, and then we see them months later, you know, kitted out all their work gear on it, and you know, going to work how they were used back in the day. Really,
Something we do suggest is if you're interested in a 40 series, maybe drive one if you've never driven one,
Oh, I know, right?
because it blows us away. Guys will spend a bit of money with us,
Yeah.
and they'll spend a bit of money with us, and they'll be for sale 2 months later.
Yeah.
They're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're hot.
Yeah.
If you don't have aircon and you stop at the lights on a 37-degree day, you sweat your tittle. Thank you, mate.
Yes.
Yeah, if you've grown up in a Hilux or, you know, a coiled car, and you've got this dream of being in a 40, we've seen a lot of guys build a car and then
60s and 40s.
60s and 40s, yeah, both, and then you'll see them up for sale a few months later.
And they've got a 79. Their Instagram page changes
What is
to
it?
the
It's, you know,
79.
the dream and the reality are not the same thing.
No, I mean, and I've never owned a 60. I have had the 40 and 45, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely that four corner leaf life, which is, I mean, for me, like my go tos are the 80s. I do. I mean, but I like chopping them too. You can't really chop a 45. And you know, well, actually, I was going to say that earlier. The old 40 series Troopies. Do you see any of them coming through?
Yeah, a few.
That would be. I would love to build a Troopy.
The Shorty and the Troopy have the advantage of the seat goes back further. So if you're touring, you've got more leg room. The Ute's uncomfortable. If you haven't noticed, I've got a few grey hair, so I'm getting older. And we went for a 3-hour drive. I stopped on the way home. We stopped once. I like to stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 hours is a lot. You get a modern car, you just dart down to Sydney, do a 10-hour trip. But the 40, we stop every 2 hours, kick the tyres.
That's the difference between driving something and steering it.
Oh man, you got these modern cars. Oh, you crashed my car. So you crashed my car just
I
the
rode
other
it
night.
off, actually.
Wrote it off.
I borrowed it.
And I got a hire car, and this is a world that I'm not usually into.
Yeah.
it's got lane correction and
yes.
you know, like this active what is it? Cruise control.
The speed's on the glass.
It's got this head-up
Yeah,
display and all this kind of
brakes for you
stuff, and it's just it's not an experience that I enjoy. Let's put it that way. It was comfy for the first couple of days, and then I'm like, this is.
Yeah, I drive it.
I drove a 300, and I couldn't understand why it was going.
Yeah.
I thought it was fucked. But there was the white lines. It was out back, so the white lines would disappear and come back again, and it was just auto correcting. I didn't have no idea. And
I like the experience of driving something, you know?
Yes.
Really driving it.
Yeah.
Holding on for dear life.
Oh, yeah.
120 k's an hour.
Well, you gotta wonder what all that auto correction would do off road. Mm. I mean, I'm sure you'd be able to turn it off, but if you were doing glassy one afternoon, you know, you'd probably have a heart attack.
Going back to the Jeep Cherokee that we had with Ruthie, that thing was tricked up, man. Like we were in the snow and it's putting power to different wheels, and you know you can feel it sort of trying to grab and seeing that one wheel's spinning and doing all this trick shit. Yeah. But like you said, it's not gonna. How long's that sustainable for? How long's that gonna last?
So, as a factory car, with factory wheels, it went everywhere our 40s did for that trip. But I remember the interior falling off because we were pushing it to go where the 40s did. So the interior bits were falling off on you guys while you're driving. And
there is some benefits. I remember when we had Glenn down, we were talking about their trip in the first episode of Low Range, where Milo did one of the Telly Hills, and I think Glenn was in the Land Rover, and he nearly come a cropper, but he popped the tyre off a bead, rolling backwards and had a bounce. But then
I remember that.
I think they lifted they did the air suspension or something. They lifted it in a way that it was allowed it to free back up and fucking put it back down and popped it back on the bead.
Yeah, cool.
Well, you know, that's a bit of a benefit, I guess. Yeah. But
high lift jack's a little bit dangerous, isn't it?
on a hill like that, I wouldn't probably recommend it. Although being a bit cheeky, you got your 45, 47. That's showing some confidence up there. You're not even running a front winch in that one.
It is now, and I got paid out for years. And I go, I'm with mates, got a snatch strap.
Yeah.
I got lazy, but for years I never had a winch. Yeah. But I didn't go solo. I wasn't the first vehicle. So I always had, you know, and again, we've talked about, we slept in the shed. We had no money. So it's like, what first? A locker, a 5-speed. Power steer, so you can't do it all in one go.
No,
you can't.
That's true.
And I think it's a good way of doing it. You know, like if you just like build the ultimate rig, right? You have no idea what each of those modifications, how it benefits the vehicle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so like, you know, you feel lucky, you're like, whoa, that does that. You know, that gets me further up that hill, or you know, the 5-speed, you know, drops my my RPMs and I'm got more fuel consumption. You know, you get to appreciate it a bit more when it's done that.
There has been times, I was at the Springs years ago, I popped a bead, I broke a front axle, I broke a rear axle, and it took 2 cars. It was a night run. Let's do a night run. and it took 2 cars to pull me out. But a winch would have been ideal. So I get it. Yeah. But again, I didn't have one. I wanted to do a locker first, then another locker, then, power steer. Power steer is a big one in these old cars. When you don't have it and you hit a rut, your wheel flicks and spins.
You want to be careful where your thumbs are.
It's no power steers are okay for the guy that's going to Bunnings or the Tip. But if you're having a wheel, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Richard experienced it. He lost his power steer on the weekend.
Last weekend, split the main, the high pressure feed to the box, and it was like Armstrong steering for the rest of the weekend. And you're like, you're very aware that you don't put your thumbs inside the.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's grabbing and spinning the wheel and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I think the last time I drove anything with any kind of longevity to it was an old Kingswood wagon, which was non-power steering. It was 3 on the tree. And that was a fucking fight. That whole time. Do you guys deal with many of the PDO winches?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Grant, a friend of ours, was using it. He was getting into some trouble. He was doing some mad tracks, but getting into some trouble and needed to use PTO. So you can control an electric winch in, but winch in, winch out, sorry. But with a PTO, you can only winch in so far before you have to sort of use your gears as well. You know what I mean? So you have to choose one or the other.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a balance between the two. So I know it was interesting to watch someone that was, capable of doing it.
Yeah.
And but yeah, PTOs aren't. They're cool, but they're not as easy as using an electric winch.
No, and we had a Dan from Carbon Off Road down for the last episode, and he was talking about the new one they're developing, which is actually going to have almost like a speed controller for the winch. So you're actually going to be able to ramp it right up when you don't need it to be sort of low and slow, but you can actually speed it right up too. So there's.
But the good thing about PTO is you can use any gear. So if you want to speed it up, you just use a higher gear.
That's what I mean. It's like, but they're just you just don't see them around anymore. Like
Well, going into 40s, we've had them where they have off the transfer case they come through.
Yeah.
They have a rear one as well. We've never had someone in Australia utilise it, but they could have been using. They could have been raking hay or whatever. So that they're made for implements for the rear as well.
Like,
wow.
And then we've also
hydraulics
had them for hydraulics, so you can.
right.
Someone's got a tipper, like a 40 with a tipper on it.
Yeah.
And they use the PTO to run the
Ploughing snow,
drive.
lift it up. So,
That's
it's mad.
cool.
Yeah, very cool. And we've had them in very rare though. Another one is 40s had a ferry overdrive and very cool, but just no parts.
You can't get the parts for
It's
anymore.
not worth mucking around with.
But that would give you like 10 gears instead of just
right.
because you got this like double going forwards and double going back. But
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Is it the choke that you used to be able to do to almost like the poor man's cruise control? Yeah.
So the diesel actually has the word throttle,
Okay.
where the petrol has the word choke.
But yeah, they're
Right.
real handy for like climbing hills and stuff. Just set it
Yeah.
in low range.
Oh,
I haven't got one of those. I need to get one of those.
12 HTs.
Oh, they suffer bad. Have you ever driven one with the throttle?
Not a 12 HT, no.
They're just so. And for
Touchy.
some reason, especially when you put them in a 40, it must be something to do with the throttle pitch or something. But it's just you just touch it and it's all over the place.
We've seen in forums, not us, we've seen in forums where they'll put a sponge, like for washing your car, underneath it.
the throttle just to get
Just
We put different rated springs on the pump and all sorts of stuff. We've seen they've got some customers that have done some really cool stuff with like little gearing and stuff, so they can actually adjust it in situ while they're driving, just to sort of mitigate it a little bit.
It's funny how sometimes you'll have customers coming in for something that's completely different and off the topic, but they'll have done something.
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
like, fuck, that's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Hey, do you mind if I take a picture? No.
Yeah.
This was mine.
My idea. Patent pending.
And for us, we didn't invent 5-speed upgrade. We didn't invent power steer. We didn't invent the disc brake conversion. Guys have been doing this for so many years, and they've been doing it really well.
Yeah.
We might have our own ways. A big thing for us is Toyota part numbers. So if you've booked your car in with power steer or anything, if you hit a stump in the bush, it's not custom Mr. Landcruiser.
Yeah, okay.
You've got that. You can ring somebody in
Toyota,
Northern Territory and look for that part number.
That's cool.
So that's one thing we sort of like to do is
Yeah.
Pretty much
Toyota
apart
part
from
numbers.
the top part of the column, everything else is Toyota part numbers.
They call it 60 series power steer, but it's probably got more 70 series parts on it, part numbers on
True,
it,
yeah.
and a Hilux part number and.
So for somebody, I mean, obviously, this is probably an open-ended question because you can find other stuff as well. But like, let's say for my 40 with the old Clevo in it, bringing that up and going like, all right, we're gonna put the power steering in it. What's a typical turnaround like once you actually get to start on it? Is that like is it a couple of day job?
Power steer on its own is not too bad.
No, it say it stays with us for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We might say because we've already said there's a 2 to 3 month wait. So you bring your car in on your day. Well, there's something on the hoist. It may be on there for another 5 days because we booked you in 3 months ago.
That's right.
But power steer is 32 hours. We book it out for 32 hours. And that's a big job. A 5-speed fully rebuilt is 23 hours. So we rebuild the box, put the cross member in, do the back axle.
And we never just put dirty old components in. Everything's got to be rebuilt. New kits through it, everything. You know, like there's no point.
And is there any kind of exchange thing for people? Like if they've got like me in like a 4-speed and they want to go to the 5, is the 4 worth anything to them? Or
Not really. And people asked us to exchange 5 speeds or exchange engines. But the problem is if you bring us a 5-speed to exchange and then we open it up and it's completely rooted, then we've got to put new cluster in there and the money adds up. So we'll rebuild your stuff or we'll sell you something rebuilt.
Yeah, gear sets ain't cheap.
no.
Especially Japanese gear sets.
Well, and that's the thing is, it's like, I mean, you know, we talk about this stuff like, you know, it's like Australian, iconic, everything, but it is. It's all, you know, it's all Japanese stuff.
We do purchase though, so if you bring us your dirty old 2F and you want a 12 HT, a lot of guys will bring us HJ61. They came with a 12 HT. The gearbox needs to be modified because it's vac assist. But it'll have the disc brakes, the power steer, some aircon parts, and there's a lot of leftovers that are cool for us. So we'll go, we'll purchase it, or as a business, you know, we've got to make $1, so we'll give you a price, but we're not offended if you want to take it home and part it out yourself and get a few extra bucks.
So for somebody doing like if I was starting a 40 series build and I knew that there was like I had a 60 that had all or a portion of the bits that I wanted, the best thing for you is to bring you both cars.
Both cars.
100%.
Yeah, instead of somebody picking and choosing what they think you're going to want, you just go, look, here's both of them.
Yep. And that's our 12 HT. That's a 2-car build.
Yep.
And then you got leftovers.
Yeah.
So you don't. Maybe with 79s you have to look for a rollover, but with 60s they've all got rusty roofs, so you'll pick one up at a good price.
Yeah, we started doing a bit of digging for a bloke came down a while ago, had a 60 series and basically wanted to redo the dirty 30 sort of style, and it had again bog, and we started sort of chipping away at stuff. And I'm like, look, you know, I'm not 100% sure. There's a magnet that's not sticking to this. So do you want to see how bad it is? And there was a period of about probably a foot, 30, 40 centimetres, where we were just pushing this pointy screwdriver through the top of the roof into the area that we wanted to keep.
We see a bit of it.
Like, this is going
My
nowhere, buddy.
60's full of bog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? 13 mil?
13 mil at one stage.
Yeah, right.
But he put it in there.
Yeah.
Well, that's it's all right if you know about it. You know.
Richard 60 is the. We purchased it for $1,000.
Yeah, back in the day,
That's pre-COVID.
Yeah. It was just.
I've got to give it to Richard. He will say that 60 is of stuff in the yard. He's blown an engine up. He's picked another one out of the yard. Things like...
I don't like you using new parts, eh?
Yeah.
He goes, I'll rebuild that alternator where I'm going. I need a new one with a warranty because I could be out back somewhere. But Richard's going, I'll rebuild it. We've had an axle. We can't sell that. As I'll grind it up and tidy it up for my car. So Richard's 60 is...
It's a bitzer.
Yeah, it is definitely a bitzer.
Yeah.
Not just a
it,
bitzer.
you know?
That's cool, though.
Yeah.
Not just a bitzer. It's stuff that's not quite sellable.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Richard's gone ahead.
It will never, ever be used again, this stuff. You know, it's stuff that we could never sell to a customer because it's too far gone. Or
But it's
like
not
that.
far enough gone for the scrap heap.
No, not at all. Not by any means.
It'll have a shelf life because now you're starting to see the roof gutters. But you know,
the diff lockers in it were they'd been in a bucket full of water. We pulled them all apart, and I've got them for a song. You know, it's like we pulled them all apart, re-sealed them, put new Planet gears in it, and all that kind of stuff. And it was good, you know. And I get off on that kind of stuff. Like, you know, like just getting stuff working again, like sustainability and all that kind of stuff. You know, the best phone you've got is the one you got right now, or you know that kind of concept. You know. Like, and I believe that keeping these old cars on the road is testament to that. You know,
I couldn't agree more. I think the what you guys are doing with the especially because, I mean, like, I'll be honest, like, I lean more towards the 40 series. I think that they're just such an iconic shape, and I think what you guys are doing with them is just, I mean, it's awesome for people that have either, and a lot of your YouTube videos is someone's inherited it. It's like the second or third part of that family, you know, where it's been passed down, and
we get
you know,
a huge kick out of it. Just knowing that we can help put another one back on the road.
Yeah.
On a small scale, a large scale, but we're helping.
But it's completing people's dreams, right? Like people like you, for instance. First car they ever drove was a 40. Remember Grandad driving around Australia in a 40.
Yeah.
You know, there's always nostalgia involved in it as well as like the young guys getting involved. You know, like there's a whole, you know, different dreams going on for different people of why they want a 40.
Well, they're all the different perspectives.
Or a 55.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about 55.
On an 80 chassis.
Well, yeah.
Pretty cool.
It's but yeah, the all those different perspectives coming, like being pointed at that the restoration or rebuild or whatever it is. I think what you're doing is awesome. I'm fucking jealous.
It kind of blows me away. So I'm into Toyotas, into Land Cruisers, but we have clients. They'll go, I also own a Tirana. Nobody waves to me in my Tirana. When I pull up at a servo, people look, but they don't. But when you're in your 40, people come up and go,
Oh, they want to have a chat.
My granddad had one of them, or I dreamed to have one of them. And
but people wave, you know, you go down the road. You don't get that in anything else, I don't reckon.
There's definitely, the 4-wheel drives, it's almost like that old school. I think it's like you said. It's like there's nostalgia, there's history.
Well,
there's
it's an Australian icon.
Yeah,
you know, even though it's not Australian, like you said, it's an Australian icon. And
but that's what I mean. Like I think it probably also depends on where you live too. Like, because I think there's certain areas, you know, it's like that, like the Tirana. Like there's certain parts of Australia where people aren't going to look at a 45, but they'll be, you know, frothing over the Tirana.
Maybe. Yeah.
You know, and it probably also depends on what's in style at the time too. Because I mean, you know, it was probably, we've spoken about this before too. I think it was probably about 2014, 2015 where in my old shop, we were still slamming them down, big sound systems, big wheels, you know, making them go quick. And there was that transition in the last one that I built was a VS wagon. And we did a full HSV kit, HSV rear decal, the walkie bonnet, two-toned it, 20s, monster sound system, you know, like leather interior, all the shit. And it just sat. It was like we missed by 2 weeks.
Yeah, right.
Everybody just going, fuck it, 4-wheel drives. And then the next one we built, I think, was probably the 45, that ute. But again, it's like that. It's that sign of the times too. It's the. I mean, you guys, you'd be familiar with Harry's Diner and all that. Yeah, you know, like so. 20 years ago, it was hot rods. Then it was Rice's. Then it's, you know, it was bikes for a while, and now it's kind of a bit of everything. And I think there's definitely some camaraderie in each group. So, you know, whatever you take out, whether we're driving something that's, you know, like an import or a truck or a bike, you know, you get that nod, and there's that sign of, I guess it would be respect or, you know, respect for what you've built in whatever area it is. But yeah, I still keep going back to the 40s, 45s. They're an iconic. They're an iconic shape, and it's you never have a shit chat with somebody when you're talking about one of them. You know, you definitely get a lot more. Well, I would have done it this way. I would have done it that way with the hot rod scene than you do with the trucks.
If you come to the show and see that there's 269 cars there, right, and not one of them, apart from the classic restorations, there's not one of them that's the same.
Yeah,
everyone's got a different personality to it.
Yeah,
that, you know, the owner or the builder has put towards it. You know, so it's really cool.
We do upset a few people with the show. It's why won't you let my 80 in? We've got nothing against other models of Land Cruiser. We love 80s. We love, like I said, my favourite engine's the FTE. So I obviously love a 79, but then why won't you let it in? Because you've got a 40 on an 80 chassis, but it comes down to modified 40s, and some of them have patrol chassis. We've had a 60 with an F truck.
F truck chassis.
So
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Was
they're
it
allowed
chopped
in.
or was it still a wagon?
No,
or?
it was still wagon.
Yeah,
And it
right.
had
Yeah,
a
it was
Cummins
tall.
in it.
Wow. Right.
But our core business is 40s and 60s, even if they're heavily modified with a GQ chassis or a 80 chassis.
Yeah, I think you're going to get that anywhere though. It's like, look, this is the show we're putting on is for 40s and 60s. Why won't you let my patrol in? Why won't you let my 80 in? Or Mr. Landcruiser, why won't you let my 80? Because it's not a 40 or a 60.
Yeah. And it's
Like,
our
it's
show.
pretty fucking simple. Yeah, it's our show.
If you want a show with 80s, go and do a fucking show with 80s.
Well,
That's
they've got BMW motors. We're not letting BMWs in. No, it's-
Well, how was Jesse off 24/7? I think he put a BMW motor in his patrol.
I think it's a bit of it's a thing at the moment. Yeah,
Is
that's why I've come here in one today because that's a donor.
That's a donor one, that
Yeah,
X5. Yeah, right. Yeah, they look. I mean, look, each to their own. I think when the X6 came out, I was a bit taken by then. I was like, yeah, that's a pretty sick looking fucking SUV. But
Mad engines though.
well, yeah,
Like these 7-8 to the 100, like
yeah,
loads of torque,
yeah.
loads of about 3 litre. You know, it's,
That's what I'm going to miss when we get rid of the shop truck, the BT50. Is that the fuel consumption on that's fuck all, and I'll be going back to a petrol 80. So it's like
I just towed my car out to my shorty out to the Springs with the 60, and it was what did we work it out like 20 something like that, yeah.
yeah.
Let's big it up a bit. 20 litres to the 100.
Yeah. No, they chew a bit. But I think I think these things are getting to a point, other than the guys that are using them for work trucks or whatever. They're getting to a point where they're a weekender, they're a tourer.
Yeah.
Like
You're
I've
not
said,
too worried about the fuel consumption.
no, and it's the same thing with the power. Like we've had conversations. Gleno brought it up. About the Hero Dyno guys. It's like it's a fucking truck. If you want to go quick, buy something that goes quick.
Yeah,
And
exactly,
it's we don't need. I stir up Sammy. 'Cause we did the bonnet for Sam Young's 80 series, and I think he was like 1,000 horsepower or something.
Yeah.
It's like I get it because it's YouTube and it's fun. But fuck, other than that, why?
Yeah.
We can still this weekend. A 2H did Beer O'Clock Hill. Now, when an LS goes up there, it is more entertaining because of the noise it makes, but we can still all go wheeling together. We can still climb the same hills. We can still...
Yeah.
But some of them get a few more claps. And,
And when you go into these places, and with a 2H, you get to enjoy the scenery a bit better. You know?
This is true. This is true. I think that's a little bit of a... What would you call it? It's a nod to the Australian blokey. I'm going to say blokey. It's going to come across the wrong way, but I'm going to say bloke anyway. It's a nod to the Australian kind of blokey banter to be able to sit back and watch a 2H and then watch an LS and watch, I don't know, like a 3 litre patrol and give everybody the same amount of shit. It's like whether they did it quicker, better, louder, whatever. It's like you can always have a bit of fun. It's like we stir up Tritons. It's like you can just always have a bit of fun.
of course you can.
And it's always taken with a grain of salt because nobody fucking means anything by it. Which is probably the best part of this industry is that it's still... I mean, I guess there's some shops, some people, whatever, that there's ego involved, but for the most part, it's just fun.
If we all supported the same football team, it'd be shit, right?
This is right. This is right. Yeah, it's like I couldn't even tell you who's on the top of the ladder in the NRL at the moment because once Lockyer left, I started losing interest. But the Rabbitohs are shit. Like, so it doesn't fucking, because that's just the Rabbitohs, and that was the team that we bagged out when I was into it. So it's a bit of fun, but
same with cars.
and that's it. As long as everybody's out there and they're putting their own bit of personality into their builds, their own bit of perspective on what they want to do with it, then fuck it, it's all fun.
And I think that. You meet some people, they might be driving a road day or something, but when you're having a chat to someone, we're on the same beach, we're camping, we love our car. What mods have you done? What mods have I done?
Yeah.
We all
We're all
have different
human.
budgets.
We
We're all into
need
it.
community.
We're into it.
Yeah.
Well, and this is what it is. being into cars is all about community, I reckon.
It's cool.
It is. Yeah, the camaraderie and the bullshit and banter and you know, we've spoken a lot on here, well, not a lot, but a few times about the benefits of the mental health stuff of getting out and camping and
100%.
touring and getting around your mates and talking shit and stirring each other up. And,
Yep.
you know, there's a lot of jobs now that are sort of work from home, and people are either on their phones in public or they're stuck in an office or at home working through dial in, whatever that shit is. And
That's why, you know, we're always thinking of new things we can do. You know, there's the Queensland Club or there's the Victorian clubs. We've got the show. But me and Paul are always talking about, what else can we do? You know, like, what else can we do to get the community together? Because it's healthy. It's healthy for us all, I reckon.
We do family stuff, but then this past weekend we just one child each, and thought that was a good for myself father-daughter moment, father-son moment. And they're the same age, our little ones, and so we just it was really good.
Yeah.
Scare the shit out of them a little bit.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, that's always fun.
the eyes well up. There was one point I said to my daughter, do you want to hop out now, please? Do you just hop out and sit over there, and we'll sort this out?
Yeah.
Because when two wheels are off the ground,
People hanging off your car.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was pretty happy to hop out.
My little fella, he's Blake's 12 and Miranda's 9, and I've got a video where I think I was might have been one of the Hiluxes I was building, but they're so polar opposites. Blake was a little bit on edge with the off-road stuff, and I wasn't even planning on doing a video for it, but it was like, you know, we just put some new suspension in it, and I was like, you know, the phone on the dash, I'm like, you know, out here breaking in this new suspension, testing it all out, and you know, obviously it's pretty smooth, and I'd sort of grab the phone and point it behind me. I said, because this one's fucking out to it. Blake's freaking out. Miranda's like, just like couldn't care less. Couldn't, you know, didn't have an idea what was going on. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, it is. It's fun stirring them up a little bit. But I think at the end of the day, it's like it doesn't matter whether you know you're out wheeling in a Triton or a fucking Landcruiser or whatever. Like wheeling's wheeling. You know, it's like get out, have a bit of fun.
A pretty nice place. So.
We do. There's a lot of stuff around here, and you guys are nice and close to it. Well, you get a bit of a drive each day, but still, you're nice and close. Do you ever go out wheeling like just like afternoon hit Glassy or anything?
No, none of that. Not anymore. It's like it's and plus
Family,
lost
business.
Landcruiser Mountain Park's gone now, so that was I used to go out there a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I say a lot, but you know, like 2 or 3 times a year.
If anything, the beach, because it's Richard's back door. So my family will go. We'll go to Richard's first, and if the weather turns bad, then we'll go back to Richard's and swim in the pool.
Yeah, that's nice.
Barbecue.
Nice.
Swim and barbecue.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all the same. The kids are in the water. So
That's
having
it.
fun.
Yeah, so a lot of beach.
Very cool.
We just got back off Fraser at Easter, and that's usually at least every 2 years.
Yeah.
And we're sort of going to give it a break to explore some new places because we go so much. So,
Yeah. Have you done Kinkuna?
No. I want to do Carnarvon Gorge.
Well, I haven't done Carnarvon, but yeah, I tell everybody every time I bring it up. Barney says
Kinkuna.
Kinkuna. It's just south of Bundy.
Yeah, okay.
Beautiful spot.
Oh no, I've heard about it. Yes,
Oh, that's quite local.
If you have a look at Ruthie Glen and I can never remember.
It's quite remote. Is it like there's no one there? Or?
No, it's empty. Yeah, it's just beautiful. It's about maybe half hour south of Bundy.
Yeah, right.
Half hour 45.
It's nice and local.
Just beautiful spot.
Yeah, right. I might have to check that out.
It is. It's. Well, I've been planning the trip for a while now because I keep saying I need to do one, but I'm going to do a trip probably around the end of mid to the end of July, June, July, somewhere around there. We're going to take that 80 up to get a heap of photos and that. And I've been wanting to do a trip for a while.
That's the place.
But it is just, it's gorgeous. I've got a photo somewhere. I'll load it up at some point. But I got a snub-nosed dart that I'm holding the tail there. It's at my shoulder height and its nose is at my knee, just off the beach. It probably was just cruising by and got caught, like as nobody else caught anything. But I fucking caught it, so it's possible.
It's a win.
But yeah, no, it's a beautiful spot. And yeah, again, like the 7 days we were there, we saw one truck go one way once. That's it.
I'm crap at fishing.
Oh, so am I.
Yeah.
I just like drinking beer.
Yeah, I like drinking beer, and it's good for the soul, you know.
Yeah.
looking up.
Yeah, he just well, see, I didn't even do that. I cast it, jammed it in the ground, sat down, cracked a beer, and
Yeah.
at some point in the next several minutes, it fucking took off.
Did it itself.
That was it. He was just swimming by. I didn't catch this. I did nothing. Well, I got the photo, so it was all good. But yeah, no, Kinkuna, beautiful spot. But as far as everything else, anybody 40 to 60, they want to know anything about anything, get in touch with you guys. You got
Definitely.
the Facebook, Instagram,
Yep.
website,
Yeah,
YouTube.
on
for,
TikTok.
It's all a bit of fun.
Yeah.
We try to have some fun. Try to not take ourselves too seriously. So yeah.
yeah, no, that we don't get accused of that around here.
Yeah, good.
The key thing, we're passionate. We love it. It's not. It's not a job. It's just unfolds itself because we're so.
Yeah,
into it.
I've said that as well. It's like when you can. The only tricky part is letting go, because when your passion is also your hobby is also your job, sometimes it's a little hard to go, fuck, I probably should stop here and go home, because I get a bit of that as well. But
We even, as business partners, we holiday together.
Yeah.
It's just we've got the same interests. Our families are growing up together, so
yeah,
we hang out together.
yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So all right, so it is mrlandcruiser.com.
Yep.
And Mr. Landcruiser on all the socials. And if anybody needs anything, that's where they can find you.
Yeah. Give us a bell. Send us an email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a
Definitely.
chat and put something together.
Annoy us, please.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you coming down. Plenty more beers to go, but I appreciate you coming down. And is there anything else you guys want to cover before
Oh,
we?
mate, it's been a bloody pleasure. It really
Yeah,
has.
I appreciate it. All right, gentlemen, thank you very
Nice
much.
one.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Bye, everybody.